So seeing where Brooks is now, it's impossible to believe that he was just a 1 pound, 1 ounce baby. So Brooks was definitely a surprise, and our lives kind of just took off. It was scary, but really exciting. At our 20-week anatomy scan, we found out that Brooks was very small. He was only in the first percentile, and he was also having some problems with his umbilical cord.
My name is Caitlin Jakowski, and I'm a neonatologist. So when Sarah was pregnant, we get kind of regular ultrasounds of babies, and they kind of noticed that Brooks was growing very small. And so there was concern that he wasn't getting the best blood flow to help him grow the right way. And so at some point they realized that it was going to be safer for Brooks to be born early.
So we were admitted into the hospital just for watching. It ended up not being just for watching. Brooks's heart rate was dropping quite a bit, so they did an emergency C-section on me. He was born that night. We didn't know if he was going to be born crying or not, you know? Hearing Brooks cry was really an emotional time. I got to see him the next morning. Seeing your son for the first time should be, this amazing experience. It was very, very scary.
I am the night shift clinical charge at Seton, Maine in the NICU. Brooks was 1 pound and 1 ounce when he was born. He was born at 24 weeks, and he was one of the tiniest babies I've ever taken care of.
Yeah, both hands, great job.
In those first 2 weeks that a tiny baby is born, they're the most critical. You're not really sure how they're gonna react to a lot of things because we haven't had the opportunity to try it before. So it's scary.
Any baby who's born prematurely will end up in the NICU, and we're used to small babies, but we as a group have kind of focused in to a group of babies we call our tiny babies, and those are babies who are born between 22 and 24 weeks.
I'm a PICU nurse, which is pediatric ICU. So I see a lot of crazy things, which kind of helped me in this experience because I knew I already had the background and the knowledge.
In some ways, I think that was a benefit because she could sometimes reassure herself when she saw the monitors and was kind of able to know things were okay and keep a calm head. But at the end of the day, she wasn't his nurse, she was his mom. And we tried to reinforce that she didn't have to be his care provider, she got to be his mom. Those babies in that 22 to 24 week time period, they just require an even more specialized set of cares. A lot of it is the lungs. Their lungs are very underdeveloped, and so we have to find a way to kind of very gently take care of them. It was right around the week mark. He had just come off of antibiotics. He had been kind of moving in the right direction. We were taking out some of his support lines, and it was shortly after that that he got very sick.
We had a very good first week and a half, and then we had our first really big downhill. Brooks got very sick. We didn't really know what from, just because babies are just so susceptible already, and a micro preemie like him, very susceptible to anything. He got very, very sick. There were some times we didn't know if he was gonna pull through.
Yeah, we feel like it was a good night, and then all of a sudden Sarah's phone starts to ring and she answers it and she's like, "Dan, we gotta go." Brooks coded and they had to give him CPR.
So his heart rate had just tanked. His blood pressure was dropping as well. So we knew, okay, his heart rate's dropping, he is at high risk for coding. So at that point we knew, okay, grab the code cart, let's pull up code meds. We need to be able to react to him if something bad happens.
They did like a minute of compressions. Basically his heart rate was in the 50s and he just wouldn't come back up. So they, did compressions. They also bagged him, which is where you give breaths through his breathing tube. That was probably one of the scariest days we had in the NICU. I mean, he was okay when we got there, you know, because they did their job, but it's really, really hard to hear something like that. And then to walk in and see all of these people surrounding, you know, his little incubator. It's tiny, he's tiny, and there's so many people just around his bed making sure that he's okay.
And we had to escalate a lot of our respiratory support.
Brooks was our first baby ever put on a high-frequency jet ventilator.
I really think the jet saved his life. I mean, I really do.
Regular ventilators work similar to how we would normally breathe, where you would just take big breaths. And this ventilator almost looks like a simmering pot of water, where it sits at a higher pressure, but then just gives very short little gentle breaths to help protect the lungs as much as we can while they're growing.
Tell me about it.
Thank you for coming.
So we spent every holiday with Brooks in the NICU. We spent Christmas and Thanksgiving and New Year's Eve. They had outfits for Brooks for Halloween. And I just want to say the staff was amazing. Like, they made sure that it was still special for the families, even though you're going through a hard time.
I remember his discharge day. I wasn't even on service. I came in, all of his primary nurses came in to say goodbye. All of our babies who go home, we get what we call a discharge parade. And we love to celebrate when our babies are able to go home. And so we line the hallway, and the parents get to walk through a celebration tunnel with ribbons.
I cried a little bit, but it was like tears of joy because it's this baby that, you know, from day one, I helped admit and started taking care of through his entire stay. And it was just a beautiful, amazing thing seeing a family that I had a relationship with go home.
10 to 15 years ago, the knowledge that we had and the technologies that we had weren't as advanced as they are now, such that babies who were born as small as Brooks or as early as Brooks very often didn't survive. To the point where sometimes people said, well, they don't survive, so we won't try. And then some very smart people in the neonatology world said, well, why can't they survive? Why don't we just try? And so it's in the trying that we gain more knowledge and we gain more expertise, such that these babies now can survive to go home. Really the philanthropy to make sure that all of those teams have the resources they need, that we can bring in new technologies like the jet so that we can give them the very best care when they're that small. Like, all of those things really optimize the outcomes and of how babies do. And so that we do get to watch them grow up and go to school and play soccer and do all of those things that, you know, the parents are excited to watch them do.
Yeah, I just feel like the NICU team they were the best for Brooks and for his situation, and going back, I wouldn't want it any other way.
We spent 128 days in the NICU. He fought every day for his life and is doing amazing now. He needs oxygen around the clock right now, just to keep his lungs open just a little bit extra. He is on 1/8 of a liter, which is just the tiniest of it, but he really needs it still. I think in a couple of months, we'll probably be off of all of that, but right now he's doing very good on it. We're thriving at home now.